we get this idea about this Ampere circuit law, so after that we will come to our discussion related to the Maxwell equations, right? So before Maxwell equation, we will going to learn about the displacement current. The one classical example of displacement current is that is sometime obtained in case of capacitors, right? Capacitors are not connected with each other, as you know. One side is in positive terminals are there, another one is negative terminals are there, but still some amount of current passes from one to other, or rather we can say that some amount of charge is being stored within the capacitors, and some amount of current is also flown from one side to the other. So this is the current that flows through capacitor is in general we call this as displacement current. Now in electromagnetic theory also we will learn about the expression, how to obtain or what are the concept of this displacement current is, right? So we will start from Maxwell equations, Ampere circuit laws. So we can write from Ampere circuit law what we obtained, that is the relation between H and J. So this was the expression that we have got, del cross H equals to J. Okay, so let us mark this as our equation 1. So now taking divergence, like we will take divergence of it. So we take divergence of in both sides, so that is del cross H will be del dot J. These are the similar concept that we have discussed in early classes also. It's just some some extension of the concept that we have already discussed. Now we are applying this concept to find or evaluate the equation of this displacement current, right? So now by taking divergence we have obtained this, or we can write del cross H equals to del dot J equals to 0. Why 0? Since divergence of curl equals to 0, right? That we have talked about previously also. So now from continuity equation that we have done in our previous class, continuity equation, we can write del dot J will be equals to minus del rho del T, which is unequals to 0, right? And continuation in case where there is some volume charge or some charge is present. So this rho is your volume charge density. We have already discussed about that. So if there is some charge is present in the surface of the volume, so we can say that the continuation equation will be related to like this. This is the relation which is unequals to 0. 0 will be in that case where this rho will be not present, or that is for case of steady state, right? For time varying case, this will be the continuity equations. So now therefore we take del cross H is equals to J plus of JD. Now this, remember, as I told you previous classes, this JD was the term which was introduced by Maxwell. So now this JD we have to find out, or this JD is actually the displacement current. This displacement current, this concept was added by Maxwell, where JD is the displacement current, or also one more information I can write, added by Maxwell. Okay, so we have to find, that means whenever we are talking about the displacement current, we have to find the expression of this term. So our discussion will be complete, right? So how to do it? First we take divergence of this expression in both sides. So taking divergence on both sides of the above equations. So what appears? So we call this equation as, suppose, equation number 3. So taking divergence, what comes? Del dot del cross H will be equals to del dot J plus of del dot JD. This will be equals to 0. So this is our expression number 4. Why 0? See, I'll not repeat it again. So see, here is the answer remains why this is equals to 0, right? You know that. See here, refer here, right? So now this will be equals to 0. So from 2 and 4 we can write, from 2 and 4 we can write del dot JD will be equals to minus del dot J will be equals to del rho V del T. So let us take our this as our equation number 5. So now we know what do we know? We know from this Gauss law of electricity that we know that del dot D will be equal to rho v, right? That was the expression we obtained from Gauss's law. So therefore we can write del dot JD will be equals to del T of del dot D. If you cannot see it properly, let us make some space. So let us make some space from here. So let us clear this part also. So again I'm repeating again. Now from Gauss law, what we know, del dot D will be equals to rho v, right? So therefore we can write del dot JD will be equal to del T of del dot D, right? So this will be equals to del dot del D del T, right? Therefore we can term JD equal to del D del T. Why? From here and this one, between these two, del dot JD will be equal to del dot del D del T. So finally we can write del JD equals to del D del T. So this is the final expression, or we can say final expression of displacement current. I mean, this was the proof how we achieved. You remember this expression? This is the expression for displacement current, and how we obtained the displacement current or the expression of displacement current. This was the technique which we just discussed, right? Before we go to the to go to the Maxwell equation, one more law we have to learn. This law is about the Faraday's law, or related. This law is related to the electromagnetic induction. So let us quickly learn about this law. So let us write the laws for you. This is this problem or this question I have seen to come in examinations a lot number of times. So it is important. So you consider it's vital. So you study this law properly. So this basically this Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. There are two laws are there. So let us write one by one and discuss. Law 1, right? So what is law 1? Law 1 is, in a circuit for varying H flux, that is magnetic flux, and EMF is electromotive force, is induced in the circuit. The EMF lasts as long as the H flux or magnetic flux varies, right? So what this law states, that if you are having any kind of circuit and within the circuit some current is passing, that means we are talking about the time varying current which is passing through a circuit. And if that is the condition, then there will be some magnetic flux will be generated, and this magnetic flux will also vary, since we are considering the alternating current. So this magnetic flux will also vary. So if this is the condition, these are the condition, if there is circuit is present and some current is passing through it, and that is therefore some magnetic flux is also there which is also varying. So we can say that in those type of circuit, or in that condition, within that circuit, some amount of EMF is induced, right? Or some amount of electromotive force is induced. Now one more thing that has to be discussed, that is the EMF which is being induced in the circuit lasts as long as the magnetic flux varies. That means the EMF will stay within the circuit, the condition will stay within the circuit as long as this magnetic flux is varying. I mean, when this variation of this magnetic flux will stop, in that case the EMF will also stop. You will not get any kind of EMF. So what this conclusion is, that within a circuit, if there is some magnetic flux is present or varying magnetic flux is present, EMF will always be generated, and it will last as long as this magnetic flux continues to vary. Okay, now when it stops to vary, the EMF will also, we will not get any kind of EMF within the circuit. So this was the discussion related to law 1. Let us now see law 2. law 2, right? Law 2 is, states the magnitude of EMF induced in a circuit is directly proportional to the rate of change of magnetic flux linked with the circuit, right? So what it means, loss 2 states that here loss 1, you have understood that if there is some varying magnetic flux is present, some EMF will be generated and it will last as long as this variation continues. So in loss 2 state, the magnitude of the EMF which is generated actually is directly proportional to the rate of change of magnetic flux or H flux. Now that means that if some amount of EMF is generated, I mean what amount of EMF is generated within the circuit will be related, or it actually depends on how much variation of magnetic flux is occurring within that particular circuit. So this was the state law, law 2. Let us now see a bit of details about this laws of this Faraday. So we first consider, let phi 1 be the amount of magnetic flux in a coil. We are considering a coil where some variation of H field is occurring and some magnetic flux is there. I mean, due to this magnetic variation, some EF will be generated, right? So amount of magnetic flux, we are considering phi 1, that the amount of magnetic flux in a coil for any period of time. So any period of time we are considering phi 1 is the amount of magnetic flux, and similarly we are taking at phi 2 that the same amount of magnetic flux in a coil after t second. I mean, say for a particular time we are considering this magnetic field, amount of magnetic field as phi 1. Now after t second we are considering the phi magnetic flux is changed to phi 2, right? So there, what is the, this is why, because we are taking two different parameters just to find out the rate of change, right? So we can write, therefore rate of change of magnetic flux will be equals to phi 2 minus phi 1 by 2. This will not 2 actually, the t. So phi 2 minus phi 1 by t, this will be the rate of change of magnetic flux. Now as per Faraday's second law, that is I'm talking about this law. So as per Faraday's second law, induced EMF will be E, suppose we take it, E will be directly proportional to the rate of change of magnetic flux. Now this is the rate of change of magnetic flux that we obtained. So this is proportional to phi 2 minus phi 1 by t, right? So or from here we can say that E varies as d phi dt, right? So this was the expression where d phi is the difference of this amount of magnetic flux at an instant and after t after t second, right? So let us write it, I mean for your if you let us write it so that you don't forget it. So d phi will be small change in magnetic flux in small amount of time, dt, right? Now from here, let us omit it, you can go back and check the previous part also. So from here we can write that, E will be equals to minus of k d phi dt, where k is a proportionality constant, right? So now, and the significance of negative signs, we write it, this negative sign, significance of negative sign is there, since induced EMF always oppose any change in magnetic flux associated with the circuit. This is the reason why this magnetic change is coming. This is important. You have to remember that whatever induced EMF is there in within the circuit, the property of that induced EMF is that it opposes any change of magnetic flux associated with the circuit. It does not allow the magnetic flux to be changed, so it opposes the change, right? So this follows from Lenz law as k equal to 1 by taking k equal to 1 equal to minus d phi by dt. This was the expression, or this is the expression for Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. But whether we call this as the expression of this Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, it is also important so that you discuss law 1 also, because law 1 and law 2 both are related. While discussing this Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, you have to discuss both, and for obtaining the expression you can do the process as I have just did, and you can finally arrive to the expression that we obtained from the Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, right?